You are listening to Give Me a Mic, Pro Wrestling Podcast with Chris Day and Wilson Travis.
Welcome, guys, to episode 4. It is June 19th, and we have a lot to talk about today.
We do, in fact, NXT Chicago, Money in the Bank, and Raw following, plus some other topics we'll get into.
Yeah, we're going to start with, TakeOver Chicago, which happened on June 16th, the night before Money in the Bank. And we're going to review the show. It was a great show.
It was much better than Money in the Bank itself.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt.
Light years ahead. And it was only 5 matches, which was half of the matches that Money in the Bank had.
Yes, there was 10 on Money in the Bank.
Right. So, let's get started. I'm going to review them in chronological order that they aired on TV. So the opening match was for the NXT Tag Team titles. The Undisputed Era, represented by Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, defending against Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. The Undisputed Era ended up winning and retaining the titles.
Now, I don't know much about Lorcan and Burch, but wow, that match was amazing.
NXT North American Champion Adam Cole was on the show. He accompanied O'Reilly and Roderick Strong to the match, or to the ring, and he wasn't performing, which upset me. He was ringside for about half the match before being sent to the back by the referee after he was caught saving his teammates from losing. Both teams gave it 100%. Burch and Lorcan stepped up, and they actually got a standing ovation from the crowd after the match, which was definitely deserved. The Undisputed Era is still going strong, and the crowd was definitely into this match. Chicago definitely loved their heels.
Yes, Chicago is always a great wrestling crowd, though.
Oh, yeah. This was a great way to start the show, and the crowd was very energetic. They were really into this match.
Yes, absolutely.
And the tag team division there is just so amazing. Even with these two teams. I mean, it's interesting to see who they're going to face next. So, moving on. The second match on the card. Oh, and I have a lot to say here. Ricochet versus the Velveteen Dream.
Yes.
Ricochet ended up getting the win. What did you think about the match?
I thought the match was amazing. We both predicted Ricochet was going to win, but wow, both of them put on it was an incredible match.
Yeah, this match showed what the future of NXT is going to look like in about a year's time.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that match, go back and watch it right now.
Yeah, both guys had spots in the match to showcase their incredible talent. Velveteen Dream is getting better with every match. He's only 22, and I said this before on episode 2, I believe. The fact that Patrick Clark is going to remain in NXT for a few more years is fine with me. He's so young, and that his character and talent is only going to benefit.
He signed when he was 19.
Yeah, straight out of Tough Enough. What's funny to say? John Cena took notice of Dream. He was asked in an interview on who he'd rather face between Ricochet, Adam Cole, or the Dream, and he said the Dream stood out to him. His own words were, "You know how in the Star Wars movies, the old Jedis can look at the rookie Jedis and be like, I think that's the one. I think there's something special there. So what better endorsement than by Cena?"
You hit it right in the head. We don't particularly care for Cena.
No.
But he is a 16-time world champion.
He is.
And the fact that Velveteen Dream is only 22 years old, he's only going to get better.
Absolutely. It was also, really fun to see in the match him paying tribute to Hulk Hogan with his red and yellow attire and using his poses, so that was cool. Ricochet is a phenomenal talent also. He finished off Velveteen with his amazing 630 splash for the win.
That's incredible. Just the fact that you can rotate that many times for a 630.
I'm actually more surprised that the WWE is even allowing a move like that, given how they ban so many moves and stuff.
I assume you're only going to see it being broken out on special occasions like this.
True.
I don't think you're going to see it every single week. It'd be nice if you do, but it's more of a... that's a special move, so, I would keep it for the big shows.
Yeah, these two are future champions.
Absolutely.
My opinion, in about 6 months' time, maybe a year, Dream will be a future North American champion, and Ricochet's definitely a future NXT champion.
I could definitely see that.
Oh, yeah.
Especially after Aleister Black leaves NXT.
Yes. This next match, I don't have a lot to say. Maybe you feel the same. I don't know. The NXT Women's Championship match, Shayna Baszler, the champion, defending against Nikki Cross. Shayna ended up winning the match via submission. What do you think about this?
I don't have a whole lot to say about it. It was pretty predictable to me. I didn't see Nikki Cross winning. Shayna Baszler just had, I feel like she's going to have a lengthy title run.
Yeah, it's likely because there's no contenders in the women's division in NXT to face her. No, at least not credible ones.
Well, I mean, NXT just, like the Iconics just left NXT recently.
Mm-hmm.
Nikki Cross to see if she comes to SmackDown with Sanity or not, because their debut's been held off. So I don't know. I mean, I think Shayna Baszler's got the title for a while.
In my opinion, this match, this is one of those matches where the hype was better than the match itself.
Yes. Yeah.
I think Nikki and Shayna's different styles didn't really complement each other in this match. The match wasn't awful, but Shayna needs a credible opponent after this feud ends, which I think at this pay-per-view it ended. So they definitely need to push the women in the roster. Some of the women that stand out to me, at least right now, maybe Bianca Belair. She's definitely very talented.
I actually read a comment. It was from Triple H, who said Bianca Belair does not have the right to be that good. And that coming from Triple H.
I said this when I saw her in the Mae Young Classic last year. She is a phenomenal talent. She's got something about her that's very original. That hair whip that she uses. So this is an endorsement for her. She's going to be a future NXT Women's Champion. Maybe not now, but definitely in a year's time. Nikki Cross should have went to with Sanity to SmackDown. That's my opinion.
Yes, absolutely.
So after this match, we had the NXT Championship match. Aleister Black, the champion, defending against Lars Sullivan. Aleister Black ended up getting the win.
Thank God.
Well, we knew Aleister Black was going to win.
Yes, but I don't like Lars Sullivan. There's something about him.
I don't like him, and he looks like an ogre.
Yeah.
He looks like a monster.
Yeah. To me, the way he looks, not like his physical face or whatever, but the way he's built to me reminds me of kind of like a cross between Vladimir Kozlov and Heidenreich.
I can see that.
He's got like he had red tights on, at least in the promo video.
Yeah.
But he's got that like Kozlov build. He just kind of walks the ring, doesn't really say anything, just kind of slams you, or whatever.
He just yells.
Yeah, and it's like I don't care. I have zero interest in him.
Well, it was a hard-hitting match.
No, it was.
Lars showed that he can perform at a main event level, which exceeded my expectations. He's nowhere near Black's athletic ability, but he can move for a big guy. And I don't know if you did watch the pay-per-view live, right?
Yes, I did.
It was very rough seeing Black miss his Black Mass kick.
Yeah, and
Lars still sold it and threw himself on the floor. The crowd noticed and chanted "You effed up" chants at both guys, but the preceding two Black Masses that ended the match made up for it.
Yeah, one square on the chin.
Oh yeah,
so I think that was the ending one.
And if you looked at the camera when Lars was getting up after the first kick, he was yelling at Black, "You better effing hit me this time." I don't know if you picked up on that.
I didn't pick up on that, but
yeah,
you got no better than to say that when there's cameras on you from all different angles.
Sure. I'm sure he was very frustrated with that. Now, let's move on to the main event.
Wow. I'm going to say wow before we get into it.
Chicago Street Fight, Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa 2. Tommaso Ciampa ended up getting the win. Now let me ask you, do you think this was better than their New Orleans match, or do you think it was equal, or what? What do you think?
I'm going to say it's better. I felt like I was emotionally invested in the match.
Oh yeah,
and
that's how you run a program.
Yes, and it's good if you actually are emotionally invested into it.
I think their New Orleans match was more athletic. This one had more of a storytelling.
Yes,
and it had a really good element of getting you emotionally invested, like you just said.
Yeah.
The sequel to their 5-star New Orleans match delivered. The storytelling and the feud is incredible.
And some of the spots that were hit were just amazing.
Oh, yeah. Can I say Ciampa is a natural with his work? And that bump he took through those two tables looked like it really did damage.
Oh, that was unbelievable.
Right. The finish was done exceptionally well. Ciampa hitting that desperate DDT on the exposed part of the ring with no padding while handcuffed and getting the 3 count was tremendous. And in my opinion, what complemented it even more were the shocked faces in the crowd after the finish.
I would like to say I was not a fan of the ending.
You weren't?
No.
Why?
Because Gargano was... I think he kicked Ciampa in the face a few times.
Well, he kicked him like at least 5 times in the head.
It's a Chicago street fight, and the officials pulled Gargano out of the ring. That was bullshit.
Right.
And that's what caused Ciampa to win. Now, I get putting Ciampa over because Gargano won New Orleans.
Right.
But it's a street fight. It's not over until someone gets pinned or is knocked unconscious. So the fact that officials stopped Gargano from doing more damage and that led to Ciampa winning, that was crap.
Well, they probably try and justify that by saying that Ciampa was in no condition to fight after that huge bump he took.
No, I mean, I get what like the angle would be and why the reasoning,
right?
But it's still a street fight, and I didn't like that. Officials stopped Gargano from essentially winning the match.
I'm sure there was another way they could have worked around that finish, but I liked it. I loved how it was done, and Ciampa, like I said, he's such a good heel, and I said this on social media. I believe these two have one more match left in them, and it might happen at Brooklyn 4. Takeover Brooklyn 4.
Takeover Brooklyn, yeah.
Yeah, at NXT's first Hell in a Cell match. That's unofficial, but that's my opinion. There's no other way to end this feud than with NXT's first ever Hell in a Cell. There's no other way to end it. This is like a throwback to those feuds back in like the early 2000s, the late 90s, and even the mid 2000s, where these personal feuds would end in Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, I think that would be a perfect ending. Do it in Hell in a Cell. Here's my question though.
Yeah.
NXT TakeOver 4,
yep.
Brooklyn 4, will be in August.
Right,
August 18th, I believe, is the date, or August 19th, one of the two.
Yep.
When is the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view? October?
That's a good question. I believe it's in September.
Now, if it's in September, there's no way they're doing two Hell in a Cells back-to-back months. I can't see that.
I don't think it'll be an issue, especially with NXT. I don't think it'll be really. I mean, they did Hell in a Cell in WrestleMania.
No, I know.
But, you make a good point.
Do you think they do just a cage match to lessen it, not make it Hell in a Cell? Or a different stipulation?
Honestly, they might do something stupid like 3 Stages of Hell. Or they might do something like a Last Man Standing or, maybe an I Quit match. I don't know. But
I think an I Quit match would make sense.
Sure. But ideally, a Hell in a Cell match would be a great way to end this feud. There's no other way, in my opinion.
I absolutely agree. I just don't think with Hell in a Cell being that close as a pay-per-view itself that they'll do that.
Yeah, I that definitely slipped my mind. I didn't know that Hell in a Cell was moved to September.
Well, either way, it's in the fall, so it's just still it's close. It'd be close together.
Right.
If you were talking about like if they did a Hell in a Cell in New Orleans, that's different. There's more space in between.
Right. So whenever this feud ends, which will likely be at Brooklyn 4, I think in, let's say, 6 to 9 months' time, Tommaso Ciampa will be NXT champion. I think he's the guy to take the title off of Black.
I think
there's no other guy in NXT with as much heat that he has, and credibility-wise, you got guys like you got guys like Adam Cole. You got guys definitely that could contend for the title, but as far as like a full-fledged heel to go against a full-fledged face like Aleister Black, there's no other guy on there to take it from.
Now, do we think Aleister Black stays in NXT until Survivor Series then?
No.
Because if Ciampa's facing Gargano again in Brooklyn, when's he facing Black? He's going to take the title from him on TV? Or, on the network anyway?
You're right.
Because I feel like Black would come up after SummerSlam.
No. I don't think he'll get called up that quickly. Honestly, maybe January or WrestleMania time.
Really? You think that far in advance?
I think so. I don't think he'll get called up so quickly. NXT, they definitely need that big name.
No, I agree with that. I feel like with how over Aleister Black is and how much he could help the main roster.
No.
You don't think so, really?
I don't think so. I think they could roll with him for at least another 6 to 9 months. Just like they did with Finn Balor. Finn Balor held the title for about 280 days, and I don't know.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens.
As
time goes, as time goes on, we'll figure that out.
So this pay-per-view had only 5 matches.
Yes.
Compared to Money in the Bank's 10, and these 5 matches delivered in quality.
Absolutely. The show overall was much better than Money in the Bank was.
So let's move on to this frustrating pay-per-view. Money in the Bank.
That is a good way to put it.
Took place June 17th, the night after. And I'm going to go again through the matches in order so we can discuss these. The opening match was Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass 2. Daniel Bryan ended up getting the win. Bryan defeated Big Cass for the second time in a row. First time he went over was at Backlash, and now at Money in the Bank. Both victories coming from submission.
Yes, I thought Big Cass was going to win.
A lot of people did.
But Bryan gets the win again, and the news that broke earlier today before we continue, Big Cass was released.
He was, and I was going to say next in my notes here that it looked like Cass was still in the doghouse, but...
Well, now he's out of the doghouse, not out of a job.
Yes. I was going to say it was interesting to see where both guys go from here, so now we know where Cass is going, but...
To the unemployment line.
Right. But Bryan, I think he's facing Miz at SummerSlam.
Most likely. I mean, that feud was built up while Bryan was GM of SmackDown and couldn't compete, especially with the segments on Talking Smack and whatnot, which were amazing, by the way.
They were. And I think it's interesting to note that WWE didn't wish him the best in his future endeavors when they announced his departure.
Yeah, so he definitely pissed somebody off.
Yeah, do you think it had anything to do with him going into business for himself in that SmackDown segment?
That didn't help his cause. I don't think that was the actual reason, though.
You think
that happened before Backlash.
Oh, that's right.
So
he was like punished for about 2-3 weeks after that.
He was punished by
with that injury angle, right?
Where he came out and ran down Bryan, who was in the ring, and then Bryan just beat the crap out of him. On SmackDown. And that was his punishment, I think, for that.
And then he had the injury angle.
Yes.
Which took him out of TV for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, and then he was in the triple threat match with Joe and Bryan for the Money in the Bank spot.
He lost that.
Yes, but he wasn't pinned in that, I don't think. I think
okay.
Bryan, I believe, or Joe had pinned Bryan, I believe, there.
Well, definitely submitting 2 times in a row was definitely punishment.
Absolutely.
I think he would have won at least one of these matches.
I believe they're obviously details aren't out yet.
Right.
I think Monday SmackDown had a live event, something I assume would have happened there. Maybe, I don't know. The details haven't come out yet. One thing to note: Enzo Amore tweeted after the news broke out, probably about an hour after it broke out. He tweeted, "How you doing?" And that was it. So I thought that was a good
Looks
line.
Like these two are reuniting in the indie scene.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
What's Enzo and Cass doing in the Impact Zone?
Yeah, right.
Right. So that was that match.
It'll be here comes Zoe Amore and Cassidy. You know.
Yeah, I can see that. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Money in the Bank.
Moving on from a decent match to a horrible match. Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn. Bobby Lashley ended up winning. The Chicago crowd was not behind Lashley here, who was booked as the face in this feud. The crowd opted to cheer for Sami Zayn, and this is what I thought it would be, a 5-minute squash match.
It wasn't even so much of a squash match. He won with vertical suplexes.
And then the next sign on Raw, you see him use the spear as a finisher, so that's even more of an insult to Sami Zayn.
I feel like that's going to build up to a Roman Lashley thing.
Well, yeah, you saw this, like, remember when they did the Batista Cena thing?
Yep.
And they were trying to one-up each other, which led to a match between the two?
No,
I like this, because if they're going to go with that route, that means that Roman won't be in the title match at SummerSlam. They'll do Lashley versus Roman at SummerSlam. So that's a saving grace for me.
Oh, that would be amazing.
And I don't care who goes over. I really don't at this point.
There have been different rumors going around for SummerSlam, which we'll get into a little later.
Sure. So that's all you have to say about the match?
Yeah, I mean, it was what I expected. The feud was horrible. The match wasn't much better. So that's that. And hopefully that feud's over. Yeah. I did hear that Sami Zayn might be injured. Might have been injured in the match. And might be off TV for a few weeks at least. So we'll see what happens. He did not appear on Raw.
Well, if it's only a few weeks, that's fine. Third match. The Intercontinental Championship match. Champion Seth Rollins defending against Elias. Seth Rollins ended up getting the win. Elias is over.
Yes, he is.
Proved that I wasn't a fan of Elias, but he definitely won me over in some way. Rollins wins after a back and forth. It was an athletic match. Rollins continues his momentum, and Elias shows that he's a future IC champion.
Yes, and I thought the feud was going to continue.
Now it's getting into Raw.
Yes, we'll just mention, getting to Raw, that Rollins had an Intercontinental Championship Open Challenge.
Oh, it was an open challenge?
It was, yeah. He did an open challenge. Ziggler and McIntyre came out. It was Ziggler who faced him, and surprisingly, Dolph Ziggler, out of nowhere, won the Intercontinental Championship.
He used the tights and got the win.
But, I mean, there's just no build behind that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the swerve, but...
It was a swerve, but I think this is a prelude to Rollins getting his rematch maybe in a week or two.
It is next week on Raw.
Right. Okay.
That was confirmed.
And then getting added to the multi-man match at Extreme Rules.
I would assume so, yes.
I think that's...
And I think Ziggler would also be in it, too. Or McIntyre.
Maybe.
Back to Money in the Bank.
But I think this isn't to hold Rollins back. I think he's going to move forward.
Yes, absolutely.
Next match on the card was... Actually, let me mention before we move on, the SmackDown Tag Team Title match, the Bludgeon Brothers who were the champions, defending against Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. The Bludgeon Brothers ended up retaining. This was on the pre-show, so I didn't see it, but I'm not surprised by the outcome.
No, I mean, the match was okay.
Right.
It was what you expected. I didn't think I assumed the Bludgeon Brothers were going to retain. They did.
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
I feel
why wasn't the Raw tag titles defended? That's what I want to know.
Because it's the B team are the number one contenders. That's why.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, Gallows and Anderson were just taking up time, I think, until Sanity shows up on SmackDown to face the Bludgeon Brothers. That's my opinion. We'll see if that happens or not.
Can we just mention that the tag team champions haven't been used on TV in like how many times have they appeared on TV since they won the titles? Like 3-4 times.
I don't believe they were on the SmackDown before Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Prior, there was a singles match that I believe Carl Anderson beat Harper.
No. I'm talking about the Raw tag team titles.
Oh, they were not on this week, I don't believe.
They weren't on TV. They haven't been on TV in a long time. Were they even defending the titles at Backlash back in May? Early May?
I can't remember that far back.
I don't even think they were. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. But moving on to the fourth match, the Money in the Bank ladder match for a women's championship contract: Alexa Bliss versus Ember Moon versus Lana versus Natalya versus Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch versus Naomi versus Charlotte Flair, and the winner was Alexa Bliss.
That one surprised me. I thought Sasha Banks was going to win, and here's why. I said it in the previous episode. The match took place before Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax.
Yes.
And I thought Sasha Banks was going to cash in on Ronda Rousey.
Well, this match wasn't what I expected. It was shorter than I expected also. Lana didn't need to be in this match.
She wasted someone else's spot.
Well, you had Peyton Royce or even Bayley, who wasn't doing anything and should have been in instead. Alexa Bliss ended up winning the match in the briefcase, which surprised me because, she just lost the Raw Women's title 2.5 months ago. So this is a bit frustrating because someone like Becky Lynch, Natalya, or even Ember Moon, or even Sasha Banks could have used the win to light a fire in their characters, or even use this as a catalyst to a future heel turn.
Agreed. And could we real quick talk about the botched finishes?
Oh gosh.
Where Becky Lynch is basically holding the briefcase in her hand, but didn't pull it down.
Naomi as well.
Naomi also had the same spot like that.
Right. This was the whole finish. This is repeating the cycle of poor booking with no long-term goals for everyone else involved.
Yeah, agreed. It was really for Alexa Bliss and no one else. Who else benefited from losing or being in the match at all?
No one. And, I like Alexa Bliss, but, I didn't agree with this. She definitely didn't need it.
I was really surprised by the outcome, personally.
Yeah, but moving on to the fifth match. Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal. The modern-day Maharaja.
As I'm sure everyone knows, the Chicago crowd loved that match. Hint the sarcasm.
Roman Reigns ended up getting the win. Roman wins after, was it one spear?
I believe it was one spear, yeah.
They tried to make this match exciting. It just didn't work. The crowd started to wave and hijack the match. Overall, no one cared.
I know there was beach balls and basically the crowd chanting for everyone that wasn't Jinder or Roman.
Right. I mean, that's all we got to say about that.
Yeah, really, there's nothing else to go
no one cared. The crowd
didn't care.
Wasn't invested. We weren't invested. So, if you're listening, I hope you feel the same way because...
If you enjoyed that match, well, then at least someone did.
And I'm going to air my grievances on this match as well. The SmackDown Women's Championship, Carmella the champion defending against Asuka. Carmella ended up getting the win. James Ellsworth returned after a 7-month layoff and helped Carmella retain the SmackDown Women's Championship. This was rumored online that he was returning to the company. And let me just say this. If you had told me when Asuka was in her 500 plus day reign as NXT Women's Champion, or was in her 4th month on the main roster as undefeated before WrestleMania, if you had told me at that time that her first main roster pinfall loss was going to be to Carmella, I would have laughed at you. And now here we are.
Well,
I mean,
she lost to Charlotte first.
No. She lost by submission. I'm talking her first.
Oh yeah,
her first
true.
pinfall loss was to Carmella. And this certainly nullifies her undefeated streak.
Yeah. And actually, I did not hear the rumors about James Ellsworth returning.
Well,
so I was actually pretty surprised by that.
Well, he was supposed to defend his intergender title, I believe, the night of the show, but he blew it off.
No kidding.
He blew it off and signed with WWE, who for some reason was interested in
bringing him back,
and now he appeared on the pay-per-view. So I read this like last minute, like maybe like the morning of the show, and then it was taken down.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, but this is what they went with, and again, you know what? Like, you build up Asuka as this dominant champion that's undefeated, unbeatable, and she gets spooked by somebody wearing her mask and her robe.
Yeah, that was stupid.
What the hell was that?
Yeah,
about?
I mean, we'll see how it plays out, I guess.
Nah, man, that's whatever.
But it definitely does hurt Asuka's character.
Well, yeah, definitely. But moving on. Time to hear our grievances even more.
Oh, goody.
WWE Championship match, last man standing, champion AJ Styles defending against Shinsuke Nakamura. AJ Styles ended up getting the win and retained the championship. Chris, let's hear it.
Unbelievable.
Right.
Look, the match was good.
It was a good match.
I don't think it was great. I think it was good.
It was one of the better last man standing matches of this era that I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it coming watching it. How many times Styles got up right at the last second, and it was happening too much, and I was like, he's gonna win. He's gonna win.
Styles or Nakamura?
Styles. Because Nakamura had there were so many where Styles got up at 9 or 9.5 even.
Right.
That it was just like, it's not gonna happen. And I thought Nakamura was going to win. I thought this was going to be the end of the feud. I'm sure it's the end of the feud now because Nakamura has lost 3 times.
Well, didn't we say this was his 6th or 7th?
This was his 6th WWE Championship match, and
on pay-per-view.
On pay-per-view.
Oh man,
He lost twice to Ginger, clean both times, I believe.
Yeah.
And now this is 3 times to Styles, 4 if you count the Greatest Royal Rumble, Mania, Greatest Royal Rumble, Backlash, and Money in the Bank.
Do you count Backlash? Because it was a double count-out.
The point is he didn't win.
True.
So it was a match where he didn't win.
Well, it's unfortunate to see Nakamura continue to lose all these title matches. I was convinced he was going to win this time to have his heel turn come full circle. But they had Styles retained, which doesn't bother me because I like Styles. And
Nakamura has 0 credibility.
Nakamura deserves better.
He does.
It was a good match, and I wasn't disappointed. The action was great, and the spots I did were, very well done and was believable. It's just a decline of Nakamura's momentum. Like, where does he go from here? I think Styles, moving forward, will defend his title against Samoa Joe. Yeah,
I believe Samoa Joe is probably the most likely opponent for Styles next.
Yes. Moving forward, I think Samoa Joe. I mean, who else would you have him face? Daniel Bryan? I don't think it's time.
Not yet. No.
No.
I could see something after perhaps SummerSlam with Styles, Joe, and Bryan.
That'd be great to see. But no, we did say that Daniel Bryan will likely face Miz at SummerSlam.
Yes, so I don't think that's gonna. I think we're looking at Joe and Styles for Extreme Rules and probably SummerSlam also.
After this match, Raw Women's Championship match, the champion Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey. The match ended in a double DQ no contest, which brings us to their 9th match. Raw Women's Championship match, Money in the Bank cash-in, the champion Nia Jax defending against Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss ended up winning and capturing her 3rd Raw Women's Championship, her 5th women's title overall.
Yes.
Alexa interfered and attacked both Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax during their match and caused a double DQ finish. But the bigger picture was that after Bliss took out Ronda, she continued to wail her briefcase at Jax's arm that was hurt by Ronda's armbar during the match, and then she cashed in her contract, spiked her with the DDT, and hit Twisted Bliss for the win.
Yep.
Now, while I don't agree with this, it's obvious it was done to set up Bliss versus Jax in a rematch at Extreme Rules next month, and then for Bliss to drop the title to Ronda at SummerSlam. And from what we saw on Raw after the 30-day suspension thing, it's kind of ironic that it's over just in time after the Extreme Rules pay-per-view.
I agree. I mean,
build up for SummerSlam.
This was basically what I thought was going to happen with Sasha Banks winning the Money in the Bank. I thought it was going to be a win and a cash-in on Ronda.
True.
Bliss ended up winning and cashed in on Nia Jax instead. but it cost Ronda the title. As we saw on Raw, Ronda put Alexa Bliss through a table.
Yes.
And also beat the crap out of Kurt Angle. But, yeah, so, I mean, you hit it right in the head. It's going to be Bliss and Jax at Extreme Rules. Some kind of stipulation.
Bliss will retain.
Probably where Bliss doesn't have to pin Nia Jax. I'm not sure what they'll do. They always throw some kind of weird stipulation into an extreme, on the Extreme Rules pay-per-view.
Probably a kendo stick match.
Either that, stupid. Or who knows? Maybe there just won't be an Extreme Rules. They won't have a stipulation, and Bliss will just get counted out or something.
But yeah, I think at SummerSlam it'll be Ronda and Alexa, and I think Ronda will go over and begin her dominant reign all the way until Mania.
Yep, that would make sense. I could see that.
Oh, definitely. And moving to the main event.
The main event of the evening.
Which, again, frustrated me. I don't know if it frustrated you, but it frustrated me.
I was very angry.
Money in the Bank ladder match for a World Championship contract. Braun Strowman versus Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens versus Rusev versus Bobby Roode versus Kofi Kingston versus Samoa Joe versus The Miz. Braun Strowman ended up winning and capturing the briefcase.
Why?
I am very disappointed with the outcome of this match, and I'm not shocked by that. I'm more shocked that the company continues to have this fascination and fetish with guys like Strowman. Finn Balor needed that win more than anyone in that match. And it's unfortunate he'll fizzle out in the mid-card on Raw, seeing as we just saw him lose to Constable Baron Corbin.
Ugh.
The difference between the main events of TakeOver Chicago and this crap is anatomical.
Yeah, I mean, I get why Strowman won, because he's, I guess, a believable person to take the belt off of Lesnar. Here's what I think would have worked. You have Reigns and... Or if you do Reigns and Lesnar at SummerSlam again.
Sure.
Then, I mean, you have Reigns win and have Strowman cash in. But I would have done something along the lines of maybe... Another rumored thing was Lashley and Lesnar. Mm-hmm. You have Lesnar go over. Everyone is stunned. If Finn Balor had the briefcase like he should have, he could have come out as a demon after the match was over and cashed in. Because that, I think, is believable. And then if Lesnar ends up staying or resigns later on or something, you could play off that. But Lesnar's expected to leave after SummerSlam anyway.
Yeah, I don't care. And this is one of the many reasons why I don't even watch Raw as I used to. You have the millions of dollars worth of talent taking a back seat to large, overhyped, overrated 80s mentality that is still hammered in Vince's mind. Just look at what Triple H's vision of what a main event is versus Vince's, and you see the difference, and it's sad. I don't care if he cashes in and wins. This is garbage.
Can we point out that Lesnar hasn't even been on TV in 2 months?
He won't be in TV for 4 months because his next title defense is likely going to be at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And this is all brought to you by the same creative minds that gave you Carmelo over Asuka and Charlotte and Constable Corbin over Finn Balor. I'll rather sit through a recording of Gargano versus Ciampa over Braun winning the Universal title live at SummerSlam.
I think we question how the booking is so bad, and then it gets worse.
It gets worse. And I'm not a fan of Braun Strowman. I'm just not. I'm not sold on him. He's what they're doing with him is nothing different that they've done with guys like Umaga, Kozlov in the past.
The Great Khali. Big Show. They're all unstoppable monsters who get beat by somebody.
It's the same freaking cycle, and I don't know.
Look, I like Braun Strowman.
Right.
He didn't need the briefcase, in my opinion.
No, definitely not. And now that we're talking about Raw and
the aftermath of Money in the Bank.
Right, and the Universal title picture and all that, which brings me to my topic here. Brock Lesnar's WWE Universal Championship title reign to end at SummerSlam on August 19th. Or maybe sooner, but more likely than not at SummerSlam. The Wrestling Observer reported that Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns 4 at SummerSlam is not a done deal. It's also interesting to point out that Brock hasn't been confirmed to appear at SummerSlam by Vince McMahon at this point, which is false because after Raw, they confirmed that he might be defending at SummerSlam. I took these notes before the show.
Kurt Angle came out on Raw and stated that there was a decision on when Brock Lesnar's next title defense would be. Before he actually stated when it would be, Roman Reigns came out and interrupted him.
Okay,
so they never actually said SummerSlam.
Okay.
So they mentioned, the title defense, but didn't say when actually it would be.
Right, and it's interesting that Brock hasn't even been confirmed for any other WWE dates because he's booked as WWE's top champion.
I mean, it's unbelievable. He's at the top belt for over a year, and he's not even booked for anything.
Yeah, WWE hasn't given the green light for his in-ring return, which leads me to believe that it was possible that the men's Money in the Bank winner, Braun Strowman, will likely cash in on Lesnar either on Raw or at SummerSlam following his title defense if he's successful, or if he loses, doesn't matter. During one of his appearances, and then Brock will, from there, just leave the company and go back to the UFC. I could be wrong, but this is the only scenario that I can come up with in regards to this awful booking.
Boy, that would be a swerve to have Lesnar lose the belt on a Raw.
It would definitely bring ratings because
it'd be a big surprise.
Definitely.
I expect the cash in at SummerSlam.
Yeah, there's not much to do with this title run anymore. We all forgot he was steamrolled by Goldberg, and I think this title run, I feel, is the company making up for that. He's already surpassed CM Punk's 434-day title reign.
I think that's also part of it. Just to slight Punk and have the Lesnar pass his reign.
He's had 6 title defenses, and the longer he's champion, the more the Raw brand suffers. Blows my mind that Raw continues to have more viewers than SmackDown Live every week. Blows my mind.
With no champion on the show.
That blows my mind. WWE now recognizes Lesnar's current world title reign as the 6th longest of all time and the longest of the 2010s. It's frustrating because you can't compare CM Punk's title reign to Brock's. Didn't you say Punk defended it like over 150 times?
If you count live events, it was like 100. It was a lot, 150 something, I believe.
150.
Lesnar had
to 6.
If you count live events, Lesnar has 10.
10, okay. So he has 6 televised and 4 on live events. So 150 to 10.
And he's had the belt for
450.
over 14 months now. So it's less than one title defense a month, which is obvious anyway. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't appear on any, hardly any Raws, barely any live events.
So you can't compare these 2 title runs.
You can't. It's a joke.
So from what we know now, as of June 19th, there's going to be a multi-man match at Extreme Rules, and the winner will face Brock
at a future date.
SummerSlam isn't confirmed.
We'll assume it's SummerSlam.
Yes, this is very familiar to what they did last year in that 6-man challenge match at Extreme Rules back in 2017, which Samoa Joe won. So for now, Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley are the only 2 confirmed for that match at Extreme Rules.
I think it'll be a 6-man match again.
Sure.
Obviously, it's not confirmed.
You throw in Rollins into that,
You'd think Rollins will get added. I could see Braun Strowman.
Owens.
I don't think Strowman will be added due to the fact that he has a briefcase.
Oh, with this awful booking, he'll probably be added and win.
They have done something like that before. At Rumble 2015, it was Cena, Lesnar, and Money in the Bank briefcase holder Seth Rollins.
Yes.
He was in a championship match while he had the briefcase.
And the way they sold that was, even if he loses, he could still cash in after the match.
Yeah, and I thought that might happen, to be honest.
It's possible. It
would
have been possible.
So, you never know. That could happen. Strowman will probably be in it. Balor, Owens. We'll see. We'll see who else is in it. Those names will be coming in the coming weeks. We'll see what happens with that.
Sure. And let's move on to The Undertaker. His in-ring return was announced for a big Australia show, and this was actually announced during the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So
yes,
this isn't really much.
Well, actually, it was announced prior online.
Well, no, yeah, you're right. So, anyways,
Vince himself made the announcement in a video.
WWE will return to Australia in the fall. It's being advertised as WWE Super Showdown. They're saying it's going to be a historic event for Australia, taking place at the Melbourne Cricket Ground on Saturday, October 6, 2018. Advertisements are saying that the event features the largest collection of WWE superstars and legends to ever appear in the country.
And we're talking about over 100,000 people at that event.
Is it really?
That building holds over 100,000 people.
Wow.
Vince was very careful to say the biggest show in Australia and not the biggest show of all time, because he didn't want to step on WrestleMania 32 in Dallas, which was advertised at 101,000 people, which, by the way, was false. I think it was only about 90,000, but I think the tickets sold were 101,000.
Well, they probably had 101,000 seats.
Something like that, yeah. I mean, but they were he was very careful to not mention that it could be the biggest show of all time.
So go ahead.
I believe that was confirmed to be a network special.
It likely will.
If it wasn't confirmed, it will be. It'll be like the British Royal Rumble.
So fans who attend this event will see the in-ring return of The Undertaker, who will face Triple H in their first match together since WrestleMania's 28 Hell in a Cell match.
and it has been stated that it will be the final time they ever go one-on-one.
You're probably right.
No, that was actually stated.
Oh, it was?
That was stated, yes.
This is their last encounter ever?
Yes.
Wow.
So screw Australia. Look, I know Undertaker's getting up there in age and whatnot, but it's still Triple H and Undertaker. And I'm sure they're going to deliver.
Yeah, it's pretty much another throwaway match, like Cena versus Triple H in Saudi Arabia back in the spring.
Watch Triple H put himself over. Oh, it's the last match ever? Yeah, I'm going over this time.
So, if you would like to attend this event, tickets go on sale on Thursday, June 28th at 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time via ticketek.com. Which reminds me, when was the last time they were in Australia? That global warming tour in 2002?
Last time they did a pay-per-view event there, I believe. Yeah, they've been to Australia since. I actually remember that global warming tour that was in 2002. I think that event held 60,000 people.
If I'm not mistaken, the main event of that show was, and I can name these.
I know you can, yeah. And we're going to get to that a little later on also.
Let me see if I can remember this. Undisputed Champion The Rock defending against Triple H and Brock Lesnar.
I believe that is correct.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure Rock
went over.
Yeah, well, Rock had to retain.
He had to, because that was early August, if I'm not mistaken, and he had to defend it against Brock.
I'm pretty sure he pinned Triple H.
Yes.
Because Brock was undefeated.
Yes.
Or there was just a DQ finish or something. I don't know.
No, you're right.
It doesn't really make a difference, so... No. I'm pretty sure I had the event on VHS, by the way.
Probably.
To show you how old we are, VHS.
Yes, you're right. I think my first VHS paper, Armageddon 2000.
Actually, that was good. They had the six-man Hell in a Cell.
It was. Yeah, it was a great event. And
if anybody wants to watch Rikishi die, Undertaker, it was supposed to be choke slam. It was more like he pushed him off the side of the cell into the back of a pickup truck. So anyway, moving on. Moving on
to a more serious topic. This week is the 11-year anniversary of the Chris Benoit tragedy, murder-suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still sad to think about.
It is. I can't believe it's been 11 years. Just thinking back, I remember where I was. I remember seeing Benoit on TV the week prior at ECW.
I believe he faced Elijah Burke on ECW.
Yes, he did. I think they did like a tournament or something.
Yeah, because he was supposed to face CM Punk at Vengeance Night of Champions, when they had kind of a double name there.
So where were you when you found out?
I was actually in bed at home. I had not been on the internet that day, so the Monday that Raw was supposed to air.
Oh, you found out?
I found out when Raw started, and the graphic came up, and my jaw hit the floor. It was tough to process first, because I was like, I hadn't been online, and obviously, your first thought is not murder-suicide.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh my god, what happened?
Well, Vince said that, early that it was Monday night, but he said there that Benoit, his wife, and his kid were found dead.
Yes.
So they didn't know.
It came out later after Raw had already aired that it was a murder-suicide, and then Vince came on ECW the next night and said that Benoit would no longer be mentioned on TV.
So you were home and you watched the tribute show?
Yes, I did, yeah.
Okay. I was in Puerto Rico visiting family on vacation when this happened. And I remember we flew out on Thursday, the 21st of June. I had a fun weekend. And I managed to get Raw on TV because at that point I was disconnected from the world. And I didn't have a cell phone at the time either. And I think Monday afternoon it broke, right? The news?
Monday, yeah. I didn't hear it till Raw started.
Well, I didn't hear it, yeah.
But yeah, it had broken Monday afternoon.
Right, yeah. It broke Monday afternoon, and we didn't have the news. We only had the news that was local at Puerto Rico. So I didn't even hear about it. And I was out most of the time anyway. So I was looking forward to watching that 3-hour Raw that was scheduled, and instead I see Benoit's picture and in memory of below it. And immediately, like you said, I was shocked. And I thought of Eddie's death 14 months earlier, and I couldn't believe this was happening again.
Yeah, it was definitely, it was June 25th, 2007.
25th. Yeah, and this, we say it's the 11-year anniversary of the week because this happened between the span of a whole weekend.
Yeah.
The 24th, 23rd, and the 22nd that weekend. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And
Yeah, because Benoit was booked for house shows that weekend.
he didn't appear to. Yeah, he didn't appear.
He had told them that I believe he said his son was sick or something.
He said his family had food poisoning.
So they told him, don't worry about it, take the weekend off. We'll see you on Sunday for the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
And he had told them, yeah, I'll be there, etc. Even when the show, I didn't watch the show live. I was looking at online results for it.
Which one?
For Vengeance Night of Champions.
Okay.
And they replaced Benoit with Johnny Nitro at that point.
Right, and they said he had family issues.
Yeah, unfortunately, there were family issues at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. There's still really no way to explain it. I mean, the concussions and whatnot, and steroid issues, and
yes, WWE was, attacked with allegations of roid rage and steroid use within the company, which is expected when people who don't know anything about wrestling or don't know anything about the business, like media outlets, it's easy for them to attack the company. And I don't think Vince had anything to do with it. And what was I going to say?
Well, this is really what created the wellness policy that is still in effect today, really.
Well, Eddie and Benoit's death changed the business. Eddie's death led WWE to start their wellness policy in February 2006. Eddie passed away in November of 2005. The wellness policy is the non-medical use and associated abuse of prescription medications and performance-enhancing drugs by WWE talent are unacceptable and prohibited by this policy.
Marijuana use is also, it's not a suspension, but they are fined for the use of it.
What if they have like a prescription?
I'm not sure about that. I know the fine, at least at one time, was $2,500 for testing positive for it.
That's true. But then again, yeah, you're right.
Or if you're someone like Rob Van Dam, you get arrested with it.
I was going to say, didn't RVD, he got caught with it, and they just took away his title run.
He lost both championships in back-to-back nights, and was suspended for a month.
Oh, okay. Which, I mean, he was scheduled to drop the title 2 weeks later at Saturday Night's Main Event, so whatever, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't help that he had lost both belts, consecutive days, so.
Yeah, moving on. Benoit's death caused wrestlers in WWE to be accountable for their actions outside of WWE. Chair shots to the head, moves like pile drivers and chokeholds were banned. Concussion protocols are now in play. A full-fledged medical staff is available at every show as opposed to just trainers. And the company changed their entire show's ratings to PG and eliminated violence and vulgarity from their product to distance themselves from this tragedy.
Yeah, it really changed the entire landscape.
It did. It's unfortunate that these two deaths had to, make these positive changes. And a lot of people don't know, or a lot of people still question this and how it could happen, or why it happened. Because you talk to people who knew Benoit, and they'll tell you that he was the nicest guy ever, and they couldn't believe he would do something like that. And he was one of those guys who ran on respect and
yeah, absolutely,
his reputation, and he's one of the greats in the ring.
Now, I had read something, I don't know how true this is, but due to his roid use and other drug use over the years, that Benoit would have passed away within the next year regardless.
I didn't know about that.
Now, I don't know if that's true or not because of the strain it had on his heart. And Eddie Guerrero had a heart attack.
Well, so Eddie's death was from his drug abuse.
From previous years.
Which weakened his heart.
Yeah, which weren't current because he was sober, but...
No, he worked himself to death. Eddie, if the wellness policy it's frustrating because if the wellness policy had been implemented in 2004, Eddie would still be alive. There's no doubt about it. Eddie died of clogged arteries, and he had a heart attack, which is treatable. If the wellness policy,
arteries, yeah.
MVP.
Yes, yeah.
In August of 2007 or something like that, he was doing the routine, physical for the wellness policy, and they discovered an ailment in his heart that would have been overlooked and would have potentially been fatal. And these are little small things that could potentially grow and be fatal within a few years. That was caught early and it was treated, and he's fine now. So this could have been caught with Eddie, and it's sad.
And going back to how you said the full medical staff being on site. How about Jerry the King Lawler when he had a heart attack on Raw? Mm-hmm. If you have just trainers there, who knows if he actually survives or not?
Jerry the King Lawler had a doctor. There's a doctor right there on ringside, an actual doctor. And if you go back, to the 90s, early to mid 2000s, you just have trainers there who are just certified CPR. You have to call an ambulance, which takes 5 to 10 minutes maybe, and then another 5 to 10 minutes to get them to the hospital. So you're talking a full half hour before they get any medical treatment.
Or any professional treatment anyway, as far as
treatment, yes.
Yeah, as far as life-saving treatment
exactly.
would be.
So it's very unfortunate that these two deaths had to cause this to happen.
Now think, I don't know if it would have mattered or not. What about Owen Hart? If we're talking,
Owen's different. Owen died of internal bleeding. You couldn't save him.
Okay, wow.
Owen died of massive internal bleeding. And there was, even if you had a heart
because there's been no any footage of that kind of thing, so all I see is Owen in the ring.
Right. No, they released the reason for his death was internal bleeding. Even if he had a heart surgeon there next to him, he wouldn't have made it. There's no way. And people, like I said, they don't know what caused this. You talk to many wrestlers, some don't even believe Benoit did what he did, but. There's no secret, and this is just my opinion. Mental illness, traumatic brain damage, dementia, concussions, and depression is what caused this to happen. What Benoit did was unforgivable.
Absolutely, yeah.
And only a higher power can hold him accountable if you believe in that. But Benoit was a victim, and we tend to forget that. In his own way, in his own way, he was a victim of
himself, really, himself. And the business.
Yes. If we forget, Benoit was depressed over Eddie's death. It just killed him.
Yeah, that was
crippled him, and he kept having his friends die. I think 2 weeks before all this happened, Sensational Sherry which was a close friend of his, died.
Yeah, she died also.
And he was telling, I forgot who I read an interview with Chavo Guerrero who was saying that Benoit said to somebody, or maybe him, that all his friends keep dying. He doesn't know what to do.
I believe it was Chavo. Yeah,
it's tragic. And they did a study on Benoit's brain, and this was released. Christopher Nowinski, former WWE superstar, who's now a concussion expert, or leading a study in this.
Harvard graduate.
Yes. After Benoit passed away, he contacted Chris Benoit's father and told him that repeated concussions and brain damage was a probable cause of what happened. So he requested to get Benoit's brain to get studied. And in that study, they determined he had an advanced form of dementia.
Yes, at age 40.
At age 40, and his brain resembled that of an 85-year-old Alzheimer's patient.
Yes.
So...
And that could be what caused him to do what he did.
Absolutely.
He's in the physical condition of a 40-year-old, but he's at the mind of an 85-year-old who doesn't know what he's doing half the time, apparently.
No, these are facts. We're not making this up. It's facts. His brain was damaged. It resembled that of a... someone who's in their end of their life.
Well, that's a fact. We can only speculate, what was actually going through his head.
Well,
and there's no way to know.
There's no way to know, but when you look at his brain and you look at everything that happened and you look at how private he was and all these things, if you look at just on the information we have, mental illness, traumatic brain damage, dementia, concussions, and depression, you take all those, a failing marriage, you take all those things and you wrap them into one, you're going to get something like this. Benoit should have gotten help, but like you said, with all the stuff that was happening in his body, he would have been dead within a year.
Yeah.
Anyway, with his heart.
So,
it's just, it's very, very tragic. And, mental illness and all these things is something it can't be ignored. And if you need help, you seek help. I think even if Benoit had sought, I don't know. We just don't know.
There's no way
no way to know.
Yeah,
it's not. But I'm going on what I see here, and Benoit was in no way in control of himself.
Yeah, I think that we can agree on.
He wasn't, because if you want to get darker, if you read the police report, he plays Bibles by his.
I did.
He plays Bibles by his son and his wife, and then one at the weight set that he used that he killed himself with. So, in my opinion,
I believe it was also came out that the week prior he was carrying a rosary around with him, at backstage shows too.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think he blacked out. I think he didn't know what he was doing, and I think after he did what he did, I think he came back into. I think he was drifting in and out of reality. If you look at what Chavo was saying, He was sending him these text messages. He called him on Saturday after he had already killed his wife, talking about his family's sick. I'm still going to make the show. I think he was in and out of reality. I don't think he realized the full extent of what was happening in his mind and in reality. He was trying to continue his life. I don't think he realized what he did. And I think by Sunday, after he blacked out again and unfortunately murdered his child, I think he realized, holy crap, what did I just do? I'm going to spend the rest of my life in jail. I'm going to lose everything I ever had. I'm going to lose the respect of my colleagues and my family. And I think he then realized what was going on in his mind and then unfortunately decided to take his own life. And that's how it ended. That's my opinion. That's not 100%. But based on what I see here, I think that's what happened. I think he was in and out of reality. He didn't know what he was doing. And then when he finally snapped back into his, and he had that episode where he was back into real life, he saw what he did and he had remorse. And who knows what he did? Who knows if he prayed? Who knows what he did? But if you believe in God, if you believe in that stuff, but he had remorse, and God rest his soul. God rest their souls. But this is just a big tragedy, and in the WWE, you can't hold them responsible.
No,
you can't hold them responsible, but
it's 11 years later now. But
it's been 11 years, and WWE hasn't mentioned him yet. So,
well, moving on into something else.
Yes, I'm going to name every pay-per-view main event from December 1999 to present time.
I will confirm that this is off the top of his head, not from notes. He's already previously done this with naming 21 years of WWE champions. There's a video of that on our YouTube page, End of the Day Entertainment.
Yes.
All right, so whenever you're ready. Starting with Armageddon 1999.
Okay. The main event of that was Triple H versus Mr. McMahon in a no-holds-barred.
Correct.
Moving on, January 2000, Royal Rumble. Ed, do you count? Do you want me to count the WWE title match or the Royal Rumble? Because they're both. We'll close the show.
For what we're going to go with is what the match that actually closed the show.
The Royal Rumble match, which was won by The Rock.
Correct.
February 2000, Cactus Jack versus Triple H in a street fight for the WWE Championship. Wrong.
Hell in a Cell.
Oh, that's right. No, the match is right. The match type was wrong.
The street fight was at the Royal Rumble.
That's right. So it wasn't wrong. It was Hell in a Cell was wrong.
We're 3 pay-per-views in, and we're
no, screw you. I got the match right. The match type. You got
the stipulation wrong.
The stipulation wrong, so that doesn't count.
Moving on.
Screw you. That doesn't count. Let's see. WrestleMania, right?
WrestleMania 2000.
Triple H, the champion, defending against The Big Show, defending against The Rock, and defending against Mick Foley.
Correct.
This match was booked with McMahon in every corner.
Yes.
Which I think was stupid. Moving on. Backlash 2000, The Rock defended against Triple H.
The Rock defeated Triple H, who was champion.
I'm sorry, yeah. The Rock.
You said The Rock defended against Triple H. The Rock defeated Triple H.
The Rock defeated Triple H for the title.
Correct.
The next month, Judgment Day 2000, Triple H won the title back from The Rock in the Iron Man match that they had. Following that match, in the following month, was King of the Ring 2000. The main event, I believe, was a 6-man tag for the title. It was The Rock, Undertaker, and Kane versus Mr. McMahon, Shane McMahon, and Triple H.
That is correct.
Yes. And, yes, The Rock won the title. It was a weird stipulation, but... Anyways, moving forward, July 2000, Fully Loaded. The Rock, the champion, defended against Chris Benoit.
That is correct.
SummerSlam, The Rock defended in a triple threat against Triple H and Kurt Angle.
Correct.
At Unforgiven, The Rock defended in a fatal 4-way against Benoit, Undertaker, and Kane.
Correct.
And retained.
Yeah, I'll just let you talk until you say something wrong.
So did I say, okay. I'm in October, right?
You were yes, No Mercy 2000.
Oh, that's an easy one. Kurt Angle lost to, The Rock lost to Kurt Angle for the title. Kurt Angle won his first WWE Championship. Survivor Series 2000, the main event was Stone Cold versus Triple H. I believe that was a street fight or a no DQ match.
Street fight or no holds barred, one of the two.
Same match.
Yeah, it really is. It's basically the same thing.
Armageddon 2000, that's an easy one. That was a 6-man Hell in a Cell. Kurt Angle defending against The Undertaker, Rikishi, Stone Cold, The Rock, and Triple H.
Correct.
Now we're into 2001.
2001, yep.
The Royal Rumble match itself, which was won by Stone Cold. No Way Out 2001. The main event was Kurt Angle defending against The Rock, and The Rock won. After that was WrestleMania 17, where Austin beat The Rock for the title. After that, oh my goodness, this is such a weird era. Backlash 01. I believe the main event was WWE Champion Stone Cold Steve Austin and Intercontinental Champion Triple H facing the Tag Team Champions Undertaker and Kane in a winner-take-all match.
That is correct.
Judgment Day 2001 was Taker facing Austin for the title. Austin retained. Now, what was that, May?
That was May, so now we're at King of the Ring 2001.
That's an easy one. That was Austin defending against Benoit and Jericho. And
here we are at Invasion.
I might get this wrong. I have to really dig deep here. The main event was the inaugural brawl. And the people involved is just... I can tell by the look on your face. All right. Team WWE was Kurt Angle, Austin, Undertaker, Kane, Jericho?
Yes.
Oh my God, how did I get that? And
versus the alliance of...
the Dudley Boys, Rhino, oh my God, DDP, and one more?
One more, come on, that's the easy one.
Booker T.
Booker T.
Wow, how did I get that? And then...
I'd like to point out that Rhino was in a main event of a pay-per-view.
And the Alliance won when Austin turned on the WWE.
That is correct, yeah. We don't need the ending, we just need the winner.
SummerSlam 2001, Booker T defending the WCW title against The Rock.
I'd like to point out...
Booker T main evented SummerSlam.
Not that.
What?
That WWE's second biggest show of the year was headlined by the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Granted, The Rock won, but still.
Won. Rock's former WCW champion. Moving forward, Unforgiven 2001, Kurt Angle defeated Stone Cold for the title. October 2001, No Mercy. The main event was the champion Stone Cold defending against RVD and Kurt Angle. Survivor Series 01 was Team Alliance again versus Team WWE in a traditional Survivor Series match. See if I can get this. Team WWE was The Rock, Undertaker, Kane, Big Show, and Jericho versus the Alliance, Stone Cold, Kurt Angle, Shane McMahon, oh my goodness, RVD. Dude, I'm missing one guy.
Mm-hmm.
Shane McMahon, RVD, Stone Cold, Kurt Angle, and oh my gosh.
Come on.
Is it easy? Just
it is.
Don't give me a hint.
I think it's easy, yeah.
It's easy?
I think so. You're gonna kick yourself.
No. Give me like 3 more seconds here.
1, 2, 3. We're past 3 seconds now.
Hold on. I know this.
Come on, this should be considered wrong. Come on.
Survivor Series. Why am I missing the 5th guy? Was he a champion at the time?
No.
I'm gonna have to say I don't know.
Well, to show that he doesn't have the notes because he doesn't know, you're saying you don't know?
I'm gonna get mad when you tell me, but no, I don't. I can't think of it. Shane McMahon, RVD, Kurt Angle, Austin, and there's one more?
Yes. I'm afraid you're going to launch the microphone across the studio when I tell you.
Oh my gosh, why am I having a brain fart here? Was he the leader of, not the leader, but was he an integral part of this group?
Yes.
Okay, did I mention him in the inaugural brawl?
Yes.
For Team Alliance or Team
Holy crap.
What?
I cannot believe you haven't gotten this yet.
I know. I just tell me I have a brain fart.
Booker T.
He was in my head too. That's the sad part.
Well, our game's over, folks, because there it goes.
No, screw you. I got the main event. So that was...
All right, so moving on to Vengeance 2001.
Yes. What closed the show was Austin and Jericho unifying the world title and WCW title. Well,
The Undisputed Championship,
sure.
Essentially.
Next month at Royal Rumble was the Royal Rumble match itself, won by Triple H. No Way Out 2002 was Jericho and Austin for the title. WrestleMania 18 was Triple H and Jericho for the title. Backlash 02 was Hogan and Triple H for the title. Judgment Day 2002 was Hogan and Taker for the title. King of the Ring 2002 was Triple H defending... I'm sorry. Undertaker and Triple H for the title. Vengeance 02 was the triple threat. Undertaker defending against Rock and Kurt Angle. SummerSlam was very easy. Brock and The Rock for the title. Unforgiven 2002 was Brock and Taker for the title. No Mercy 02 was Brock and Taker Hell in a Cell. Survivor Series 02 was the first ever Elimination Chamber match for the World Heavyweight title. Triple H was the champion defending against Chris Jericho, Kane, Booker T, Shawn Michaels, and RVD.
Oh, you got Booker T that time.
Yeah, I did. I don't know why I had a brain fart. I knew he was in that match, too. This is the sad part. Armageddon, the following month, will close the show, was the 3 stages of hell between Shawn Michaels and Triple H.
Can you name the 3 stages?
Yeah, it's an easy one. It was a cage match, a ladder match, and a street fight.
The ladder match was 3rd, but technically
yes.
You got all 3 stipulations.
Yes, moving on to 03 was the Royal Rumble match itself, which was won by Brock Lesnar. No Way Out 03 was Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. WrestleMania 19 was Brock and Kurt Angle for the title.
Real quick, I want to go back to No Way Out. Sylvain Grenier was the referee. Continue.
Who knows who that is now, right?
Yeah, right.
Backlash, right?
You're at Backlash, yes. You went to Mania.
Okay. That was the 6-man... I don't know why this closed the show. It was a 6-man tag, right? It was...
Incorrect.
I'm sorry. No. It was Goldberg and Rock.
Yes.
It was Goldberg and Rock.
Sorry, that was in Worcester, Massachusetts. I think that's the last pay-per-view they held.
Really?
I believe so.
Yes, it was Goldberg and The Rock. Judgment Day 03 was Brock and Big Show in a stretcher match. What's the pay-per-view after that?
Bad Blood.
Oh, that's an easy one. Bad Blood 03 was Triple H and Nash Hell in a Cell for the title. Then it was Vengeance 03.
Vengeance 03.
That was Brock defending against Kurt Angle and the Big Show.
Correct.
SummerSlam 03 was a chamber match. It was Triple H defending against Kevin Nash, Goldberg, Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton, who I believe was like 20-something in that match.
23, I think, in that match.
23?
23, because he was 24 the next year at SummerSlam 04.
And Chris Jericho.
Correct.
Following was Unforgiven, Triple H losing the title to Goldberg. No Mercy for SmackDown that year. That closed the show was Taker and Brock in a biker chain match. Survivor Series the next month. What closed that show? Goldberg and Triple H?
Goldberg and Triple H.
That was a weird one. Armageddon was Goldberg, Triple H, and Kane in a triple threat. 04 was the Royal Rumble match itself, which was won by Chris Benoit. No Way Out 04, who could forget that? Eddie defeated Brock Lesnar for the title. WrestleMania 20, Benoit, Triple H, and Michaels for the world title. Backlash 04, the rematch from WrestleMania, Benoit, Triple H, and Michaels. Judgment Day 04, Eddie versus JBL for the title. So what was after that?
Bad Blood.
Bad Blood. Hell in a Cell, Michaels and Triple H. After that...
Now we're at Great American Bash.
That was an easy one. Benoit, wow. Eddie and JBL?
No.
Great American Bash.
Great American Bash. That was
No, I can name that. Taker versus the Dudley Boys in a Concrete Crypt match.
Yes, the Concrete Crypt. That was a fucking shit show.
You know what was interesting about that? They taped the ending before the show started.
Yes. The live crowd, I don't even knew what was going on.
They shut the lights off, and they aired that footage, and whatever.
So the people who paid for that main event
Yes.
got the lights turned off on them, and that was it.
Yeah, and then it showed it in the Titantron, which is whatever. Anyway, moving forward. July 04 was Benoit and Triple H for the title.
That was the last time a pay-per-view was held in Connecticut.
It was in Hartford, right?
Yes. WWE is based in Connecticut, and they have not held a pay-per-view in their home state in over 14 years.
Jeez, man. Anyways, moving forward. SummerSlam's next?
SummerSlam 04, yes.
That was Benoit and Orton for the title.
Correct.
Unforgiven 04, the following month, was Orton and Triple H, which Triple H won. And after that was Taboo Tuesday?
No Mercy. SmackDown's No Mercy.
I keep forgetting they had these multi-pay-per-views.
This is, the brand extension, and this one they had their own separate shows.
No Mercy, that was JBL and Taker in a hearse match or something like that. It was like a last ride match.
Last ride, yeah, but you got the match, so.
Anyways, and then it was Taboo Tuesday.
Correct.
It was Orton and Ric Flair in a cage.
Correct.
Then it was Survivor Series.
Survivor
oh
Series.
my goodness, these freaking Survivor Series.
Oh,
matches.
this is.
No,
I'll be impressed. In
you
this
will
one.
be impressed. It was Team Orton versus Team Triple H, right?
Yes.
Okay, Triple H's team was Triple H, Edge, Snitsky, Batista, and Ric Flair.
Just 4.
Oh, just
Ric,
4.
Ric Flair was there, but he wasn't.
Oh, was it just 4?
It
Okay,
was 4 on 4.
And Orton's team was Orton,
Maven.
Chris Jericho, and Benoit.
Yes.
Orton's team won.
Let's. I just like to point this out that Survivor Series, the main event, featured Maven and Gene Snitsky. People paid for that. People paid to watch that at home. And the winning team also was the GMs for the next month.
Wow.
Not required in the answer, but just throw it out there.
Next month was Armageddon 04.
Yes.
JBL defended in the Fatal 4-Way against Eddie Guerrero, Booker T, and The Undertaker. And I got Booker T again.
Yep, there's Booker T again.
Royal Rumble 2005 was the Royal Rumble match itself.
Yes, but actually, going back, New Year's Revolution.
Oh, I skipped that pay-per-view. I forgot about that.
That was the first one. New Year's Revolution. That was the first.
Oh, okay. So for
Held
that,
in Puerto Rico. First pay-per-view in Puerto Rico, I believe.
that was in San Juan, right?
Yes.
That was for Raw.
It was
The main
for- it
event
was
was
for Raw.
for the vacant world title. Triple H versus Benoit versus Orton. Benoit, Orton, Jericho, Batista, and one more.
Hmm?
Edge.
Edge.
Yes. And Triple H won.
Yes.
And then moving on to Royal Rumbles, the Royal Rumble
You got-
match
yeah,
itself.
you got that one.
And Batista won. And after that was, because there's so many freaking pay-per-views, No Way Out was next.
No Way Out was next.
05.
Yes, 05.
Okay, that was JBL versus Big Show in a barbed wire steel cage match.
I mean, there was just some barbed wire at the top. There was really no, But yes, correct. Moving on.
Mania 21, Triple H and Batista for the title. Backlash 05, Batista and Triple H for the title. Then after that was Judgment Day, right? That was JBL and Cena in a I Quit match. Then in June of 05, what pay-per-view was that?
Do you want to do One Night Stand?
05?
Yeah.
I forgot about that show. Can we count that as an ECW pay-per-view?
Technically. It was headlined by ECW guys.
Oh, never mind. Just
I don't know. It really counts. That was headlined. That was the Dudley Boys versus Tommy Dreamer and Sandman.
no, that's
That's
separate ECW or whatever. What was the pay-per-view after that?
Vengeance.
05?
05.
That was Batista and Triple H and Hell in a Cell.
Correct.
Then in July was JBL versus Batista for the world title at the Great American Bash.
Yes.
SummerSlam was, let me think.
Come on, this is easy.
Oh, that was an easy one. That was, we were talking about 05?
05.
That was Hogan and Michaels.
Correct.
Unforgiven 05 was Cena and Kurt Angle.
Yep.
And then what was after that?
No Mercy.
No Mercy 05. Batista and Eddie for the title.
Yep.
And then after that was Survivor Series.
Taboo Tuesday.
Jeez, it was a triple threat. That was Cena, Angle, and Michaels.
Correct.
Which is an underrated match.
If you had asked me that, I never would have gotten that in a million years.
Really?
Never would have said that one.
I know that because Cena got that win, and I felt he didn't deserve it at the time.
He didn't.
He didn't. You agree?
Yeah, he didn't.
Then the next was Survivor Series, Raw versus SmackDown, right?
Correct.
Team Raw was Shawn Michaels, Carlito, Chris Masters, Kane, and The Big Show.
Yes.
And Team SmackDown, which I think was super packed, was the champion Batista, Bobby Lashley, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, and Christian?
Negative.
JBL?
JBL.
And Raw won. And the main event of Armageddon 05 was Undertaker versus Randy Orton in Hell in a Cell. And we're going to end it there at
the end of 2005.
And yes, and then next week I'll name 2006 to present time. Every pay-per-view from there until now.
So also next week we're talking about the 20th anniversary of the Undertaker and Mankind's Hell in a Cell match.
Yes, a very historic match that
possibly some people might recognize it as the most recognizable match for the moments that happened in it.
Oh yeah,
most recognizable Hell in a Cell for sure.
It made Mankind's career, so
yeah, it absolutely did.
We'll get into that, and many more topics that are happening.
We'll talk about Sanity's debut.
Yes.
More of Extreme Rules preview.
Yes, and we'll get into WWE's UK tournament and that whole card that they have.
That is a stacked card.
It is. And, Pete Dunne will defend the UK title against We Don't Know Yet. And Undisputed Era will defend the NXT Tag Team titles. Shayna Baszler will defend her NXT Women's Championship.
Adam Cole's defending the North American title also.
He is. So it's a stacked card, and I'm definitely
There'll be a lot of stuff to talk about again next week.
A lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to get into. So, guys, thank you for listening to episode 4 of Give Me a Mic. I'm Wilson.
I'm Chris. Like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. You can find us on Facebook at End of the Day Entertainment.
You can find me on Facebook, Wilson A. Detrez, Snapchat, Wilson A. Detrez. Thanks for listening. We appreciate your support, and we will be here next week, and we hope you tune in.